Hi everybody, how are you? My name is Steve Turner, like the elder said. I'm really, really blessed to be here among so many great thinkers. Thank you guys for inviting me. I'm a drum circle facilitator. What that means is I carry musical instruments around with me, mostly drums, percussion like you see, and I travel all over the country. I go to schools, I go to jails, I drum in hospitals, I drum with special needs groups, I drum at parties, I drum with corporate team building groups. Any group you can imagine, I drum with them. They drum with me. The idea behind it is, it's not a drum lesson. It's not about the drums. To me, the drums, to me, rhythm is a vehicle for bringing people together. It's a vehicle for building community. I'm hoping to get you guys a little bit loosened up, and we're going to get a feel of what that's all about today. I'm sure you noticed, unless you really weren't paying attention, that there are a lot of musical instruments in this room. Grab your musical instruments. There's only one rule with this. If you don't drum with us, if you don't make music with us, you got to dance. The other catch behind it. The bigger you smile, the better it sounds. That's all there is to it. So, let's start with something easy. Join me. Now, here we go. Look at that. A couple short seconds. A whole bunch of people in this room were connected. Now, I call this a pulse. All music has a pulse. All living things have a pulse. To me, that makes music quite alive. Nice. Now, there's a lot of things you can do in this space. Add your voice. Let you hit your drum more. Shake it more. See what happens. Where's the smiles? Don't think, just do. 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. 2, come on, back and go. Look at that. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so I'll ask you a little bit of favor before I go on with my speaking. This is important to me though. First thing, tell your neighbor how great they sound. Go. Okay, one more favor. This is important. Tell your neighbor how great you sound. Go. Alright. 4, 3, 2, 1. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Give yourselves a round of applause real quick. Don't worry, don't put those instruments too far away. We're going to drum again in a second. I want to tell you a little bit more about what I feel this program is. What this is that I'm doing. What that we're doing, really. Like I said, this is a vehicle for building community. I think when people make music together, there's a connection that's made. I feel that there's a wordless connection that people can make to each other that I can't think of really any other activities that people do together that can bring people together like this. We feel that the change that music and the change that rhythm can bring about, as far as human empowerment goes, can really be used as an opportunity to change cultures. To change the cultures within so many different environments. From the corporate environment, I think the 7 Dwarfs had it right. If you whistle while you work, you get more done. We also really, really believe in the concept of how these friendship groups that can be formed. Because what's going to happen is when you leave here, you're going to see somebody, yeah, that was fun, we were making music together, woo! And we give each other five and all that kind of stuff. Those kind of connections really transcend to a very, very deep level. Within the school system, I'm sure you're all aware of what bullying can do within schools. We feel very strongly that this is an opportunity to bring people together and help kids leave those toxic friendship groups and be around other people. My partner, Dr. Jim Porter, and I, who's going to come up here and speak in a minute, we've written a program called Hands-On Hero. The idea behind it is that if we can get kids to stick up for each other, if we can get kids to be the hero, rather than focus on the punishment model that we have now, that's how positive change will be effective. Right now, when a child is a bully, when a child picks on another kid and gets in trouble, gets suspended, gets written up, gets thrown in jail, when they come back, we feel like they're almost empowered as a better bully. We feel like that almost gives them the credibility, the street thug credibility, to make them have more power as a bully rather than less. And the idea behind what we're trying to do is to get kids to just stand up and not stand up in a violent way, not stand up in a way and punch a bully, but stand up and say, hey, stop. That's not cool. That has so much power. Peer pressure has so much more power. All of you remember when you were young. Peer pressure has more power than an adult saying, don't do that, as opposed to your kids saying, your friends saying, no, that's not cool, don't do that. Which one weighs more? Also, when you use the punishment model, we feel like kids are really, really smart. And so they figure out how to not get caught and use, as Dr. Porter refers to, mafia-style tactics, to be sneaky and still bully someone without getting caught. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my partner, Dr. Jim Porter. He's going to tell you what we're doing.
Hi, yeah, I'm Jim Porter. Together, Steve and I created Hands-On Hero bullying prevention programs. And I'm going to try an old saying on you to see how many of you remember this old saying, just to bridge a gap between us and our speech because we're just meeting. It goes like this: disseminating prevalency data on an undesirable behavior pattern augments it in your target population. Right? Yeah, okay, you've heard it. I can tell because you're laughing. Probably heard it from your parents. And it's just a folksy way of talking about what I call the boomerang effect. The boomerang effect is something that happens, an ironic effect, when we try to solve social problems. We see a social problem and we want to change it, so the first thing we do is we spread awareness about it so that people will take it seriously. And we say, oh, so and so many kids start smoking before the age of blank. So and so many kids are obese by the age of blank. So and so many girls become pregnant before they're born, or whatever, right? So we do a good job of building awareness. Such a good job that we actually make the problem seem common and therefore normal, and the natural, instinctive human response to a norm is to conform to it. So in the act of broadcasting that we got a problem here, we actually often make the problem worse because it becomes easier to do the problem behavior. And in fact, it seems a little daunting and hopeless to try to defeat it if we think it's such a big problem. That's the bad news. The good news is that with most problems, most social problems, right there where that social problem is happening, exists the solution in action already. That is good news to me. Because then you can use the boomerang effect to broadcast that solution. And that's what I'd like to try to start here today, and I'm hoping you spread this around. The solution is already happening to bullying on the ground. Steve alluded to it. I'll quote some research. I've read a lot of research, I conducted a little research, and if you measure the solution in a particular way, using this particular instrument, the research shows that anywhere from 15 to 28% of kids in a given school are already what the literature calls defenders, what Steve and I call heroes. These are the kids that are standing up for other kids. These are the kids that jump into the middle of a bullying situation and do something, usually nonviolent, to stop it. It's not martial arts. We're talking more about using our voices. And these are the kids that are befriending the kids that are vulnerable and lonely. So, the solution is there. Somewhere between a quarter, and actually one study estimates 46% of the kids. So somewhere between a quarter to a half of our job in preventing bullying is already being done by the kids. That is great news. The baddish news is that we as adults and caregivers and administrators and educators and all that are not necessarily doing in the right way that extra 50 to 75% we could be doing to bring those heroes along the rest of the way to success, and the rest of the kids along with them. And the heroes are succeeding. Another statistic is that when a peer tries to rescue another peer from bullying, over half of the time they succeed within 10 seconds. So that's great news. I mean, it seems dangerous, but actually the news is good. So in the research is another solution, is another way to make the solution more common. And that is creating healthy friendships. It goes like this. If you take a hero and make that person friends with another hero, they are stronger in that heroic behavior, and they will do it more often and better. If you take a hero and make that kid a friend with a victim, a so-called victim, that victim is less likely to be victimized, a lot more difficult to victimize, and actually may start seeing that victimization is a much smaller part of their lives, and in fact might be more likely to stand up for themselves and other people. You take a hero and make them friends with what we call bystanders. Bystanders get a lot of bad press. These are the kids, the students that sit around watching somebody being brutalized and do nothing, and oh gosh, we want to hate them. They don't report it, they just watch it and almost make it worse by tacitly agreeing. We want to hate them, but the secret is in their hearts, these bystanders are teetering on the edge of doing the right thing. All they need is some kind of push, and what we found the greatest push is peer influence, becoming friends with a hero. It's going to increase their likelihood. They're the easiest sell, probably, on doing the right thing. The hardest sell might be the kids we like to call bullies. Bullies are just a kid. The bully is just a kid who's doing a certain behavior. They're surrounded by toxic friendship groups that endorse that behavior and expect it to happen more often. So a solution is when we surround these kids with hero friends, we give them a chance at sidestepping a lifetime of aggression, anger, painful relationship problems, criminal activity, and substance abuse. And most of you, a lot of you, I mean, I know you're all smart enough that you might be thinking, okay, you're talking about creating new friendships, but don't friendships just form naturally? You can't actually step in and create a friendship. I believe we can, because I was in the Marine Corps. And there is an experience that every enlisted Marine has to go through before they're even allowed to be called a Marine. Does anybody know what that experience is called?
Hell Week.
Hell Week. It's about 3 months. It's called boot camp. You know it.
I was thinking of the Crucible.
The Crucible, yeah, of course. That's how they cap off boot camp nowadays, the Crucible. After you've gone through boot camp, it's hard to think of another Marine as a stranger, even if you've never met them before. The walls come down. You feel almost like a part of each other, like you're joined together as brothers and sisters. And we don't have to use the whole boot camp experience to create new friendships out of strangers. We can take something that is essential to that experience, and it's called rhythm. Drill instructors are the instructors in boot camp. Drill is about rhythm. Left, right, left, right. We use rhythm to create bonds between people. We do that. You can do that. And rhythm also coordinates activities, which makes it easier for us to teach each other things we want each other to learn. And one of the most important things we want to teach each other when it comes to standing up for each other, when it comes to making new friendships, is how to use our voice for good. So I'm going to stop using my voice as an individual right now, rejoin the group, and see if we have a little time for a little more rhythm together. Thank you.
Number 5.
Grab your instruments. I'm going to talk to you guys about something. Join me. Does that remind anybody of anything?
Your heartbeat.
There it is. Your heartbeat. Now everyone's got a heartbeat, right? My thought is that if you have a heartbeat, it's kind of like a human song. Everyone's got it. It doesn't really matter who you are. It doesn't matter what guy God you worship. It doesn't matter if you've got money or not. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter to me any of those things. You've got a heart. We're together. So, I also like to say that you've all been drummers your whole life. In fact, you've been taking drum lessons since before you were born. You know who your first drum teacher was? Your mom. True. You heard her heartbeat in the belly, didn't you? See, everything is rhythm. When we walk in rhythm. When we eat, we chew in rhythm. When we brush our teeth in rhythm. We do. The sun goes up and down, birth and death, all one great rhythm. Once you tap into that, realize that we're connected, it makes it that much easier to accept. And that's really what this is all about, is learning how to accept everybody, who they are, and realize the great music we can make together. Now, I'm going to talk to you about your voice too. Just like Jim said. Your voice is your most powerful tool. You can use your voice to lift people up, you can use your voice to push people down. And sometimes, you can use your voice to make music. I'll show you what I mean. 4, 3, 2, 1. Echo me. I'll go first. Check it, say. Take those things that we just played, think of them like words on the drum. Teach me your song. 4, 3, let's jam. Go, go! Alright, so I'm going to start asking you guys for a few favors here. Let's see, who do you want to ask? Hey, sir, would you do me a favor? When we stop, you keep going, okay? Let's hear your voice. 4, 3, 2, 1, Go, go, 4, 3, 2, 1, Nice. One more small favor. Close your eyes for me. Just let's listen to this music for a second. Just kind of listen to all these voices. Now, if you're listening, you can hear that there's a lot of people saying a lot of different things. But no one's really saying the same thing, are we? Yet, everybody here agrees. The fact that we aren't saying the same thing makes it much more beautiful. I think that's how it works out there. When you don't agree with somebody, that's a good thing. That's an opportunity to learn. 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. 3 small favors. 2 of which are repeats, but we're going to do it again. First favor, tell whatever you played, your instrument, say thank you. Gratitude is very important. Second favor, tell your neighbor, say thank you and that they sounded amazing. And once again, because it's so important to me, look at your neighbor and tell them how great you sound.
I'm amazing.
All right, let's give you guys a drum circle round of applause. Thank you all for sharing your time with me. Give yourselves a round of applause.